Hi, I'm Vibrine Samuels and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. Well, tomorrow, that is March the 28th, we have a new moon that takes place in Aries, and wow, what a powerful, powerful new moon this is going to be. And the reason for this is because 4 out of the 5 personal planets, namely the Sun, the Moon, Venus and Mercury, together with Uranus, are all in the first house, Aries house, and then the 5th personal planet, which is Mars, is in the 2nd house. So with all of the focus really on this new moon, which is around new beginnings, it's really come home to itself. And the reason for this is because the clocks went forward, and so we're now officially in the season of spring. We had the spring equinox last week, and also it's the start of the astrological calendar. We're in the season of Aries. And so the Sun is in Aries, and the Sun is also exalted in Aries, which means it's in its most powerful position. So it's very much a sense of the definitive warrior that is rampaging through life. And because you've got all of these planets in the cardinal sign, that means it's about your journey or your understanding of initiation. So I want to sort of concentrate on the 1st and 2nd houses, because that's where a lot of the power lies. So when we're dealing with first house issues, the first house here is Aries, and its natural polarity is Venus. And so there's this axis that you're going to be navigating, the definitive self, and also in relation to others. The 2nd house is around possessions and what it is that you value. And so with all of these personal planets in Aries, there is very much this strident approach with no holds bar in a very unique, innovative, but also challenging and surprising way, because you've got Uranus there. So with the Sun and the Moon, there's a blending of energies. There's a blending of the self-image, which is represented by the Sun, and also the core identity, which is represented, the self-image is represented by the Moon, and the core identity is represented by the Sun, and it's a conjunction, so they're sort of fusing up their energies together. So what does this mean? What could it mean for you? Well, it's an invitation for you to think about courage, being decisive, being an initiator, moving forward, having confidence. And yes, you have this sense of Aries wanting to be first and always wanting to be in the lead, up front, leading a tribe. But actually that's the external face. And the hidden face is there's a timidity that exists in terms of your personal world, your inner world, your ability to truly relate what it is that you desire in relationships. So there may be this compulsion to rush into love affairs, for example, and lead the way with that. But once in them, there could be this inability of expressing really what it is that you feel. And that's because you've got this opposition to Libra. And here in this particular transits that are taking place, you've got so much concentrated within Aries that it's sort of out of kilter, because you've got these 5 planets in Aries, but you do have 1 planet in Libra, and that's Jupiter. And so a key lesson here is your ability to move from I through to we, because the we then enables you to begin to temper and balance this Aryan energy. And you've got Jupiter there, and so Jupiter will be illuminating anything that it touches or it's being reflected by. So there's the capacity to grow in, to have an abundance of healthy relationships and partnerships. But you've got to find a way to sort of temper this Martian energy. And so from a medical astrology point of view, you have Aries, or Mars, I should say, that rules the head. But then the esoteric ruler of Aries is Mercury. And so here, what you're looking at is the balance of confidence and courage, and Mercury represents strategy. And it's about how do you begin to blend the strategic approach to how you can live courageously in, in this life in terms of what's going on with this transit. So when we start to look at, well, what else could Aries represent? It's this sense of impatience. Aries wants to be out there, so it wants to be the jockey, it wants the horse, and you know, the horse is very symbolic when it comes to Aries, but also in terms of Sagittarius, which is another fire sign. With Sagittarius, the symbol is half man, half horse. With Aries, we're dealing in the kind of arena of the hero, and heroes in days gone by rode horses. And the sun was on this, the solar energy was on the chariot that was being pulled through by the horse. So there's this sense of, you know, moving swiftly and compulsively through life. But in doing so, what you then bring about is a sense of urgency, impulsiveness, and then you kind of lose energy, you kind of lose focus. And there's something within this, all of this air and energy is, yes, there's the desire to achieve and accomplish, but as soon as you hit a hurdle or an obstacle, you might get around it and then you could lose interest. And so the key here is about how do you really think about and behave in a way where you begin to slow down the energy. And the energy can be slowed down because Mars, which is the natural ruler of Aries, is in the second house of Taurus. And so whereas the compulsion to really escalate things, it's been moved or slowed down, as I said, because of Mars being in Aries. And in the second house, yes, it's an association with money and possessions, but it is about qualities or things of ways of being that bring you a sense of inner peace, inner security, emotional stability. So Mars here, Mars, it's about being really practical around the values that you have. It could be about what it is that you create, and it's about creating things that bring you value. And the sorts of careers could be Martian-like careers. And so it could be through athletics. It could be through martial arts, which is very Aryan. It could be through the armed forces. And or it could be about using or turning things that are based on stone or metals and turning them into beautiful creations. And it's through these values and the things that you value that you're able to begin to stabilize the way that you move forward in life. Because with this Aryan quality, you know, there is such a highly charged energy that you could bamboozle other people, but also overwhelm yourself. And so it's this dichotomy of it's very definitive, here I am, through to, well, I am here, but actually in order for me to achieve all of these goals, all of these dreams, and all of the things that I want to initiate, there's this recognition that slowly seeps in that you need other people. It's about the other and your ability to navigate that axis that moves from Aries through to Libra. How do you begin to navigate that terrain in a way that's going to be healthy and meaningful to you? So as I mentioned, we have Uranus also in Aries. And so what can happen as you're exploring, or being, I should say, in this new moon, is that you could begin to behave in ways that could be shocking to people around you because of this compulsiveness. And it sort of brings me to the myth of Icarus. And so Icarus, you know, he strapped on his wings and he was desperate and eager to fly and fly up to the sun. And in doing so, he completely disregards everything that his father has taught him, you know, the rules of rationale and reason. And this is because of this impetuous Aryan quality where it's about not listening to what other people think you should be doing or showing you the way in which it has to be done. With Aries here and with Icarus, it was a case, I'm not interested in that, I just need to get out and do it, I need to prove it for myself. Which also ties in with brands like Nike, and its tagline is "Just Do It," which sounds and feels very Aryan. So this "Just Do," get on with it attitude is what's calling you to have a semblance of courage, confidence and faith in your life. and at the same time not tipping the seesaw of life so that you're acting to your detriment. Because when we look at Libra, yes, it is about harmony, yes, it is about balance, but also Libra is about extremities. You know, you're trying to balance two different things, two different ways of being, and so there's a polarization in terms of relationships. And with this Aryan quality, that is what keeps it polarized. But as you start to navigate the terrain and come back to the center is when you're able to have those truly beautiful, flourishing relationships that this Jupiter in Libra is inviting you to bring to the surface. We also have Mars, as I said, it's in the second house, it's in Taurus. And we're also dealing with power because we have Pluto, and Pluto is in Capricorn. And so this sense of power that's associated, I mean, Mars is a very powerful energy, and Pluto is about power. Mars is the co-ruler of Scorpio, which is equally about power. And so, yes, you have Mars currently in Taurus, which is about the practicalities of making money. You may want to amass lots of money, but then you could be rashly spending it. And that could actually be superseded if you tap into the energies between Mars and Pluto, which really is about the exercise of power. And therefore your attention may shift away about amassing material things and bringing you into the centers of power. And so they could be through business, academia, politics, the military, armed forces, entertainment, anything that seemed to be powerful. And what this suggests is that you can then begin to move into really satisfying your first house goals. And there's this sense of the allure of power is going to pull you forward and therefore make, in your mind, a far more interesting journey through life, because it's about the possibilities of what power can give you that's going to quench this sense of, you know, wanting to be out there at all costs. But it's about the ability to demonstrate power in a meaningful way that takes you from this kind of shallow base way of operating through to a sense of dynamism in a way where you're able to stand and shine, because you've got Pluto, and Pluto's in the sign of Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So that's very much about the accomplishments that the journey to your accomplishments, and wanting to show them to the world, and also wanting the world to reflect them back to you. So it's a really potent, dynamic, warrior-like type of new moon energy because of all of these planets in Aries. And so, which brings me to the quote of the day, and it's by Liz Green, and what she said is the sun is the hero in our lives, but it's the ascendant that shows us the quest that we need to take in order to realize the hero. And so here we have the sun and all of the other planets in Aries, and the ascendant is Aries. So it's about, you know, how are you going to make a place for yourself in the world? Because don't forget, the symbol and image for Aries is the ram's horns. And that's very much about, how do I show up in this world? I'm going to make a place for myself in this world. And which brings me to the question of the day. And the question of the day is, what are you going to do to demonstrate the quality of courage in your life so that you can show up to be the hero you're truly meant to be? So that's it. You know, I love connecting with you. Put your comments and your answers in the comment box below. Feel free to share this episode with anyone in your network. Please like and share and subscribe to my channel. And if you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch. Usual method is by breensamuels@googlemail.com, and we'll take it from there. So wishing you a really dynamic new moon and the possibilities it can bring to you if you're able to step up courageously, but also to temper it. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.